Hi, it's Gwen from Hummingbird Tarot, and today I'm doing a video response to Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. So this is day 14. Do you have any go-to tarot books and why? So I actually have 3 books that are kind of my go-to tarot books. Before COVID, I would go to a lot of tarot meetups. Sometimes people are constantly interrupting you. If you're sitting next to somebody who's a beginner and they're brand new to tarot and you're just trying to get through a reading or connect with the person that's sitting with you on the other side, what I found was really helpful so that I didn't spend the entire time answering questions of a beginner. I could actually connect with people and spend time doing other things. I bring this book with me, and this is the Radiant Rider-Waite Exploring Tarot using the Radiant Rider-Waite. And this was a gift to me. It came in a box set with the Radiant Rider-Waite tarot deck, which is one of my favorite tarot decks. I love the coloring in it. But the great thing about this book is it's got colored images. And so I would bring an extra, I have a ton of Rider-Waite-Smith tarot decks, so I'd bring an extra traditional tarot deck with me. And you know, if they didn't have a deck, or if they had a deck of their own they didn't know very well, then I would let them use a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck of mine, and then I would just say, hey, this is the book, this is how it works, feel free to use it while we're here. And then they could look up the meanings, and then, you know, if they had complicated questions here and there, then that's great. I didn't mind that, but then I don't spend the entire meetup having, you know, the whole time being consumed with answering questions of a beginner. And I can just answer the few questions here and there that they have that aren't easily found in a book, and we all end up enjoying the event. So this is definitely a go-to book that I brought with me to every single meetup that I went to, just so that I had that as a resource to help with any beginners that were at the event. The next go-to book that I have is A Magical Course in Tarot. And this one, trying to give it to you without reflection there, is by Michelle Morgan. And I love her interpretation of the cards. This book is from 2002, so it's been out for a while. For me, I have a real spiritual and emotional connection to this book because for most of my life, I've been reading tarot cards for over 25 years, and my tarot practice was very near and dear to my heart and was very personal to me, and I was very connected to that. And then separate from that, I had lots of interactions with ghosts and spirits. That was not really in my control. That was on their terms when it was convenient for them, and would get very disruptive in my life sometimes. Michelle Morgan in this book is the first time that I saw someone talking about the voices in my head and the interactions that I have. Like, I used to think I was crazy when I was younger, and that's part of why I started this channel, is to be a resource for people who are going through on the same journey that I've been on. I spent most of the beginning of my journey, my spiritual journey with tarot, and my spiritual journey in dealing with ghosts and spirits, and how disruptive that can be in your life and intrusive. Keeping that information to myself and dealing with that alone for decades. And it's such a challenging journey to be on alone that I wanted to be a resource for others who are out there. I also wanted a place to be able to talk about being a deck collector and just geeking out on those, because even the tarot readers that are in my life that I connect with through the meetups that I go to, none of them really are collectors. And there's one or two that collect, but not quite at the level that I do, to where we can sit down and have a conversation about it and geek out over these things. I'm getting off on a tangent, but hey, it's my channel. I can do that. So anyways, this is my go-to book because of her introducing the idea to me of marrying the tarot with the ghosts and the spirits things. And so what I did was use the tarot as a way to control that area of my life and just tell them, you know, you can communicate with me, but only when I have a deck of tarot cards in my hand. Otherwise, you have to leave me alone and be quiet and stay out of my life and not wake me up in the middle of the night and not be so disruptive in my life. And things really got under control and much quieter and much more manageable and much more sane in my life after that. So this is a definite connection emotionally and spiritually for me for that reason. And then outside of that, I just love her interpretation of all the cards. She's just got such a great spin on it. And so sometimes when I'm feeling in the mood, I'll pull a couple cards for myself, and then I'll go back to this book and see, you know, what was her take on these cards. So I'm just going to open up a random page in here. You know, the first part of the book, she's talking about her journey and some decks that you can look at to help you, and just some good advice for becoming a tarot reader. And then the second half of the book is talking about each of the tarot cards. And she's saying that she won't make tarot cards out of these. I love, she's got images. There are images, illustrations with each of the tarot cards that she's got in here. And I think they're fun, but I love the message that she has in here. So I'll take a look at the star and what she says about the star. The star illustrates spiritual and creative expression. With this card comes enlightenment and peace, illumination of your soul's purpose, and recognition of your talents and artistic potential. This is the mythology of guardian angels, fairy godmothers, and granted wishes. With the star, you experience both sides of the story as benefactor and recipient. This card finds you influencing others to positive ends, bringing to light some altruistic or humanitarian ideal, or finding the proper channels through which to begin pursuing your life's work. The star heralds a time where potential becomes actuality and dreams become real. I mean, how cool is that? And every interpretation she has is like that. I mean, just on the next page here, the Tower. The Tower is a card of radical change. Lightning strikes, a fortress crumbles. All that has ceased to serve you, either conscious or unconscious, is being swept away. The canvas wiped clean for the artist's greater vision. Here is opportunity and growth. Unexpected awareness, a sudden chance to dramatically alter the landscape of your future. It is a brief moment, like a storm in midsummer, the vital life force of creativity and courage gone nova. Carpe diem, which means seize the day. I mean, it's fabulous, right? It's absolutely fabulous. So sometimes I like to geek out on this book and see what message Michelle has to me in a reading. And so that's fun. And I go back to this book often. I love it. It's one of my go-to books. And it's also a nice, gentle way to introduce someone to tarot. It sticks to the positive side of things, lots of light, positive energy, and it's a fun book for that reason. And then my last go-to tarot book is Kitchen Table Tarot. And this is Melissa Sanova. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but I'll put links to all these books down below so you can find them if you want to. And this is just such a fun read. If you're a beginner and you're just new to tarot, want to learn, it's exactly what it sounds like, Kitchen Table Tarot. It's like going over to your girlfriend's house and sitting at her kitchen table and learning how to read tarot, and hearing some stories from her about interactions that she's had, some advice from her, and then she also goes into the meanings of the cards. And the deck that she uses in here is one of my favorite decks too. It's the forget what it's called. I've got Tarot Made Easy is a book and deck set, and that's, if you buy the set, that's what it's called. But it's also, I believe, a Llewellyn. I'm forgetting now. I'll put a link to it down below. But the artwork in the deck is one of my favorite decks too. So I just like it's like a modern cartoon version of the Rider-Waite-Smith, a little bit more three-dimensional versions of it. She does such a great job. It's very down to earth. It's very funny. I'm one of those people that likes to geek out over tarot books. So I read beginner tarot books too, because I like to hear, there might be new information in there that I don't know, or I'm revisiting things that I've already learned. It's just fun. It's a topic that I love. And one of the things that I love the most about tarot is it's this journey. It's this journey that you're constantly on. There's always new things to learn. some new person comes in and reminds you of something you learned 20 years ago, or they give you a new insight. And this is just a fun read, and I really enjoyed her writing style. Was very down to earth. It's not a very stuffy book at all. Some tarot books you get there, it's like being in a classroom and you're reading a textbook, and they're so dry that, you know, I love tarot. I've been reading it for over 25 years, and I'm bored stiff, and the book puts me to sleep. That's not my kind of book. It's something that I'm absolutely fascinated with, and I love tarot and I'm passionate about it, but the book is terrible and it puts me to sleep. And this is one I find as a fun read. So these are my 3 go-to tarot books, and I recommend all 3 of them. If you don't have them in your collection, at least these 2 here definitely are great. They're fun to read, and then just as a resource, this is one of the better like reference books that I use for tarot, that I find is great for beginners. If you're new to tarot and you're working on the traditional meanings, this is a great book. And each page in here, it talks about, you know, it's got a great color image of the traditional image, and then it tells you upright and reverse meanings if you're one of the people that reads reverse cards. And then it's got, you know, messages here, and then on this side of the page it tells you the upright and the reverse meanings for just what the core meaning is. If you want to do like a quick read meaning for love, money, career, or family, it tells you what the breakdown is for each of those things. So it's a great resource too. So recommend any of those 3. If you guys have a book that you'd like to recommend, please do so in the comments, and I'll check it out if it's not one that I already have in my collection. Love to hear from you. If you've read any of these books, or you have the ones that I've mentioned, we'd love to hear comments on those as well. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next time around.